In this video, we're going to look at basically where JavaScript is housed. Like cascading style sheet, CSS, if you use that before, JavaScript is a scripting language, which means it relies upon a HTML document. So there are three locations it can live in. The most important thing is when you declare a script, if you're doing it inside a document, you need to put around script tags. So you can see there the script HTML tags here. We've got an example here where we're changing the ID of a HTML file. The first type and most often used is you put it inside the head of the HTML documents, and we then call up a function. So it looks like this. So basically, you've got the head tag here. You can declare the script. We've got a function here. Now, a function is basically just a small piece of code which can be called upon anywhere else within inside this file. So if we look at it, we run it. Basically, if we hit the button here, try it, it then changes the text here. Okay, it does the function call, it changes the paragraph changed here. So as I said, this is the first and probably most common way of using JavaScript is to do it in what we call internal, which is in the head. So if we scroll down, the next common way is what we call inline, which is inside the body itself. So it's not as often used, but if you've got, say, a button or something in the document where you need to call up some code, but you don't want to have it in the head, you can put it in here. So you can see here, we've got a button here which calls up a function called myFunction. So if we run this, and I press it again, you can see it says paragraph change. So the difference here is instead of referring to the head and doing a function call, what we're doing is we're running the code directly in the body here. As I said, it's not as common anymore. Most developers nowadays use internal or external, as there are some safety issues around having the source code inside the HTML file. The last way, which is probably the best practice way of doing JavaScript, is to have an external file, just as you can with CSS. So what you do is you have a separate file and you name it .js, which means it's a JavaScript file, and inside there you just copy and paste all your documents. To run this, however, inside the head, you'll need to have obviously the pointing to the reference of JavaScript. So you can see here they are also running in here. So it looks like here they've changed HTML recently to also include inside the body. So basically, if you're starting out, it doesn't really matter which way you do it, whether it's inline, internal, or external. However, as time goes by, the best practice is to use the external method, as it separates the HTML from the code, makes it much easier to read and maintain the HTML in JavaScript, and it does actually load the page much quicker.